Hi, I'm Carl with Apt, and today we're going to show you 3 reasonably priced 55-inch 4K TVs. You may have seen our last TV video with the larger, higher-end models that you can check out in the link below, but not everyone's looking to spend a small fortune on a set, and we wanted to show you what you can get for right around 4 digits. We've got TVs from the big 3 again. We've got the Sony XBR55X850D, which is right behind me, the Samsung UN55KS8000, which is right over here, and the LG 55UH8500, which is over to my left here. They're all 4K and all of them are currently priced around $1,000. We're going to take a look at 4 different categories on these. So we're going to look at the design, the operating system, sound quality, and lastly the picture quality to give you information to hopefully help with your selection. Now we realize that these are all very subjective categories, so we'd love to hear your opinions in the comments section below too. And if you decide at any point during this video you want to place an order for any of these, keep in mind we have free shipping going on all these almost all of the time. Now our first category, like I said, is design. They're all dark rectangles. That's true, but it's best to consider looking at everything all the way down to the pedestal. So if we start at the bottom, we have 3 pretty distinct pedestals on these. The Samsung, which is 2 chrome boomerangs at each end, the Sony, which is kind of a wedge design, and the LG has a kind of a curved foot. Now the Samsung's pedestal looks really good, but can be a little impractical if you need to place it on a stand that isn't quite as wide as the TV because of the distance between the feet. So make sure to keep that in mind if you plan on putting these on a stand. The LG is a little better in that it's a solid piece all the way across, so it can fit on a wider variety of stands. And the Sony has that classic wedge design you may have read about in history books. It was good 1,000 years ago, and it's still good now. It holds the TV up, and out of these 3 TVs, I actually think it fits most applications. It actually fits the most applications, since it's a little more compact than the others. But again, that only comes into play if you're going to put it on a narrow stand. Now moving on in the design category, we go to the bezel around this set. These all have very thin bezels. The Samsung has kind of a brushed silver trim around the outside edge and a black border around the screen, which I think looks really nice. The Sony has a darker brushed metallic frame around the sides and the screen, but there's also a little kind of a silver accent that runs around the perimeter on the outside of the set, and they kind of have a similar design on all of their larger sets now. It's either going to be a silver line or a gold line, and then the LG has this kind of a silverish border around the perimeter and a black border around the actual screen. All of these are great looking TVs from the front and sides. The backs of the TVs are going to appear a little different. The LG has this stark white back, which to me seems like a really bold choice. The other 2 are both kind of black or dark gray on the back, which I prefer to the bright white that's on the LG. Now, how much time you're actually going to spend looking at the back of the TV? Probably not very long, I hope. So this probably doesn't matter a whole lot in the long run, but it's part of the TV's overall design, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned it. Now, speaking of the backs of the sets, and kind of in the same idea as the design category, we'll take a look at the inputs. Samsung's going to be a little different in that they use their One Connect box to consolidate the inputs, but let's just pretend like we've used some double-sided tape and stuck it to the back of the TV for this particular part of the video here. So the Samsung and the Sony both have 4 HDMI inputs. The LG only has 3, so that was one thing that was a little bit different. They all have 3 USB connections. For the Samsung, there's going to be 2 on that One Connect box and 1 on the set itself, and all have a digital optical output, but only the Sony has a 3.5mm analog output. I know it might not seem like a big deal, but there's still a lot of customers out there that have old analog wireless or wired headphones that they want to use or have, even hardwired to the TV. So Sony is the only one that really gives you the option without necessarily having to spend more money on new headphones. The LG and the Sony also have component and composite inputs where the Samsung does not. Not necessarily that big of a deal, kind of like the headphone jack, but if you have an old component that you want to plug in, Samsung doesn't really give you that ability unless you go through a receiver first, so there's no way to really plug it directly into the TV. So again, not that big of a deal, but something to mention. Now, moving on to our next category, we're going to look at the operating systems. These all have different systems in place, but they all possess kind of similar features. The app catalogs for all 3 of them are decent, and they offer a lot of ways for you to kind of customize your television experience. Now I was able to do some exploring of all 3 of them, and I really found that they all had their limitations. It's hard to tell if it was the network or the operating system itself in a lot of the cases, but nonetheless, they were all a bit inconsistent. I would say the easiest one to navigate, for me at least, out of these 3 was the Samsung. However, I kind of still have a soft spot in my heart for the LG's Web OS system. If you ever owned a Palm Pre cell phone, you'll know what I'm talking about. I know it's not exactly the same thing, but the name definitely brings back memories of my favorite cell phone of all time. The Sony was very capable as well, and I liked the layout, but I would have to say that while we were testing, the Samsung to me lagged the least, and again, for me, it was the easiest to navigate. Please keep in mind though that the smart menus can be affected by the speed of your internet connection, so this category is a little dependent on outside factors that'll be different from home to home. Next, let's talk about sound. I know it's not the greatest category to use for a TV comparison, especially now with how small the speakers are in them, but there's a lot of people out there who still don't want to or don't have the extra money to spend on a soundbar or surround system. And since we're trying to keep things a little more budget-minded with this comparison, let's assume that you're not adding any external supplementary sound. I listen to a variety of different things on the sets, from movies to music to just regular TV feeds, and I found the LG to have the best sound out of the three. Sony and Samsung were fine considering the size of the speakers and the small amplifiers that are built in, but they seemed a little more tinny than the LG. We're not going to spend too much time talking about the details on these since, let's be honest, none of these three come with sound that really matches up with their picture quality at all. I just found that the range on the LG was the best for me. It had the closest thing to what resembled bass, and the highs were the clearest, again, as far as I was concerned on these. They were all really close though, and realistically, you really should be looking at a soundbar or a surround sound system if you're getting any one of these TVs anyways. Now, our last category is, of course, the one you've all been waiting for, except for the people that only wanted to hear about the sound quality. For all of you, you can stop the video now because you may not like this next part, but for those that decided to stay, here's my thoughts on the picture quality. I'll say the same thing here that I said in my last TV comparison video. If you're taking any one of these three sets home, you're gonna be happy. I honestly thought all three were really good. So they're all 4K and they're all 120 Hertz. What's the difference, you might ask? The LG is the only one that has 3D built in, which is cool, but it's just not a technology that's ever done anything for me. And a lot of the TV companies are moving away from it now anyways, so it wasn't a huge determining factor. So getting back to the things that are a little more fair to compare, let's talk about the colors. I thought the Sony had the most accurate color quality of the three, with the Samsung and LG coming in really closely after. I just felt that the Sonys looked really the most natural, but the others weren't far off. I will say the Samsung for me had the best black levels, but I also found their picture to fade a little more quickly on off-angle viewing. The Sony and the LG dropped off almost at the same spot as each other, and both were slightly, I thought, better than the Samsung in this category. With that being said, if you're watching TV in your own home, you should be sitting in the best spot anyways. If you're not directly in front of the TV when the movie starts, I found a good trick is to tell whoever's sitting in your spot that their car is getting towed, and when they go to check it out, you can take your seat back. It works almost every time unless they didn't drive to your house. Now getting back to the important stuff, I also found the motion on the Samsung to be the best looking when watching a variety of different things. To me, it had the least soap opera-ish feeling, if you know what I'm talking about, where things kind of move really kind of strangely across the screen. And there's settings that you can change on all of them to help with this, so you really can cater them to your preference and to kind of to what you're watching too. But now the last big thing I want to talk about in relation to the picture was watching things that were filmed in HDR, or filmed with HDR. I thought all these looked great watching HDR content. I did find the Samsung to show the most detail in the HDR picture, but it wasn't a significant difference over the others. So that's just a quick thought on HDR. But again, all three of them are really good. So to kind of wrap this all up, these three TVs are all really nice. The design's really similar, and if you're mounting it to the wall, the pedestal's not going to matter at all. With that being said, if you're putting the TV on a stand, the Sony's going to fit the most stand sizes. The sound is really average on all three of these, with the LG, I think, having just a little more bass and a little more clarity in their high range sounds. I found the Samsung Smart features to be the least buggy, but that can be affected by your network at home, and it's not necessarily going to be the same experience for everyone. And the picture was great on all three of these TVs. You really can't make a bad choice between all three of them. So now that you've had a chance to see these sets a little more closely, we'd love to hear your thoughts on which set you like the best and why, so be sure to let us know in the comments section below. As always, we appreciate you watching our videos, and remember, if you want to see more information on any of these sets or if you want to place an order, you can click on the links in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to see what we've got next.